Hello, hello, everyone. Hey, Fem Talk Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Fem Talk. I wish you could see us sometimes backstage so that we can get to you. So, we are here another night, and I want to bring in Dr. Melissa Simmons.
Hey. What's
Hey,
up,
hey,
Fun
hey.
Talk Nation? Hey, Tracy.
Hey, hey. All right. So, I was back here scrambling a little bit. I'm telling on myself because life is lifing around
Life
here.
was lifing.
Absolutely. But we're here. We always like to make sure that we get to you. Our Shima Shishi will not be joining us tonight for another obligation. So we miss her. And she'll be back with us next week.
Yay.
Yes. So, you know what we like to start off with most days?
Yes. Some hot topics. I know. I was going to say, let's do the question, but let's hot topics.
Let's start with the hot topic. Yes.
Hot topics. We had a busy weekend. Super Bowl.
Yes. So listen, I watched the game. I was hurt the first half of the game because, I know people were saying, oh, we don't want the Chiefs to win again. Let somebody else take it. But
I know.
I was really wishing that Mahomes got a third.
I have my shirt here.
I was really hoping because, right? Listen, to make a record, right? It's huge. It's a huge achievement.
It's so huge.
He's still a young
man.
I'm
not giving up on my man. Look. Yes, that's right. That's right. Wow. And what really annoyed me, it was a great game in the sense where I give the greatness was on the Philly side. Mm-hmm. One of the things, and I'm not mad. And that was the thing. I wasn't upset. I was actually during the game kind of rooting for them. Mm-hmm. I am a huge Saquon Barkley fan. And I wanted the Giants to feel it. So I wanted him to score, but to their credit, Kansas City was able to kind of eliminate the Barkley threat. Mm-hmm. That being said,
it seems like that was the major.
That was the only thing they could get to was they eliminated Barkley and forgot about everybody else. And my man,
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. I was like, okay, let me back up. When they lost 2 years ago, mm-hmm. he has a picture on his website, on his phone, mm-hmm. of him walking through all of the red confetti from the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. He has not changed that up to the day of the Super Bowl. That mm-hmm. has been his screensaver for 2 years.
Yeah.
Reminding him that he would have an opportunity to change it, right. Or keeping that in the back of his mind. Right. What I believe Philly did was they studied everything they did wrong in that last two games, in that last Super Bowl, and they reversed it all.
Yes. And let's give it up for Philly defense. Let's give it up.
Philly defense killed it.
Yes.
From the first time Mahomes touched the ball to the last time, they had him.
Yeah.
They had his number. They had everybody. I don't even know. After a while, I wasn't even counting. Was it 5? It's probably 5 with another 2. He probably ran away from it still. And then I think he threw interceptions on the ones that he should have been caught in. So regardless, he tried to do everything. I think he was out of sorts. Everybody was covered when he tried to throw the ball and do some play action. Interceptions. I think he had 3 interceptions for the game.
Yeah.
It was unheard of. It was unlike him. It was unlike the team. No one had an answer. No one on the Chiefs had an answer. Kelsey didn't have one. Pacheco didn't have it. Nobody had an answer for Philly.
Yeah.
Kudos to Philly. Between Jalen Hurts, and let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Another black quarterback winning. He is, talk about DEI on fleek. He has a full woman management team.
Yes.
From
Yes.
top to bottom.
Yes.
5 women managing his profession, all of his outreaches, his nonprofit, his management. That's his management team for everything Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So I ain't mad at all. I
Yeah.
am celebrating. It was such a, my husband and I, we've been talking about it in terms of he is the epitome of the Black quarterback that the NFL has tried to keep down for years.
Yeah. And
Years.
let's talk about this too. Like, to hear him interview afterwards, he is such a humble spirited young
Yes.
man. And never once during after the Super Bowl was over did he get so excited and try to give himself so much credit. He thanked the Lord and he thanked his team most of all. Super, super humble guy. And I said to my son, I'm like, oh, he's really trying to keep it all together, but he's so
He's
humble.
humble. I mean, I have one of the pictures that I have on my Insta is him sitting on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
He walks out of the celebration with the Lombardi trophy.
Mm-hmm.
He goes outside, sits right on the floor, and just takes it in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not missing this moment. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
think it all just came in. Like, like I said, he kept this loss in the forefront of his mind for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. He imagine every time you look at your phone, this is what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Reminding you, what do you have to do better? What do you have to do? And a lot of people doubted that he could have a game the way he did.
Yeah.
And what they missed was Saquon had a phenomenal season.
Right.
So he didn't need all of that during the season because Saquon was able to do his thing. He was awarded the offensive player of the year. So Saquon did his thing. He didn't have to do all of that. But can he? Yes. And since they stopped Saquon, he said, I'm up.
I have to do what I need to do, which is why he got MVP of the Super Bowl
right.
as well.
He scrambled. He had I forget his over 200 yards in passing. I think he was the highest running back. In terms of yardage running, he had more than Saquon. It was just amazing what he did, and kudos to that. Kudos to showing another team. Yes, a Black man can take you to the Super Bowl and win.
Yeah.
Hello.
I will say this, because I was rooting for the Chiefs, right? I'm glad that they managed to get on the board in the second half of the game, so it wouldn't be so embarrassing.
It was late in the second half.
I think too, people underestimated Jalen Hurts, right? Because of the season that Mahomes has had, because of the dynamic quarterback that he is, right? They underestimated Hurts, and they
totally did. And sportscasters, fans are so sometimey. So now the whole thing is not Mahomes, because before the Super Bowl, everything was, is he now the new GOAT? Can he overtake Tom Brady? If he wins the three-peat, is this the GOAT? Is he at GOAT status? I was like, no, GOAT status takes 10, 15 years to earn. Is he on his way? Absolutely.
Right.
Win or loss, he's on his way.
Right.
A lot of people say, oh, they go to GOAT status. Absolutely not.
Right.
He is one of the youngest quarterbacks ever to have accomplished what he has. And I'll say this, the Super Bowl still goes through Mahomes. Everybody still better figure out how to stop him. Nobody did see it.
Right.
Study it and try to do it next year.
And when you think about, like true athleticism, right? I'm sure he's going to take this back.
What?
He's going to watch those plays, and he's going to.
Y'all going to get a beast next year. He's going to be in beast mode.
Exactly, because that's true athleticism and that's true willpower, right?
True.
It's the same way Jalen Hurts came out this time around, right? Same thing.
Who's not a good quarterback? That Tom Brady lost. They don't act like the GOATs of the world don't lose. Serena Williams, Simone Biles, they've all lost.
Yeah.
What they are, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan, when they lose, you better get scared, because those are what they have in their brain, the way they take everything to the next level. Exactly. That's what makes them the GOAT.
Exactly.
Figuring stuff out, trying to, so I have no doubt Mahomes is still top level still will be, he's on his way to GOAT status. Stop it. That being said, you have a Jalen Hurts that has proven I can do this.
Yeah.
Has given those other quarterbacks like Lamar, and Jameson Wilson, all these other quarterbacks hope that, come on, push it. All the quarterbacks are looking up to them, looking up to see what he did. Okay, I'm gonna take some lessons from what I just saw you do. So is Mahomes, and kudos to as soon as the game was over, went up to Jalen Hurts, said, "Look, enjoy this, man. Enjoy this moment." Knowing how precious the moment is. Everybody does not win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
That is,
So, and listen, when they talk about the GOATs, right? If you talk about the GOAT in football, Tom Brady has seven Super Bowls, right? So it's going to take a while for anybody to get to that level. But he also didn't stop playing until he was in his 40s.
And, the team, the Chiefs still have a lot to work on. They got to the Super Bowl without a great team.
Right.
They didn't really blow anybody out. So all of that coming together, I have every hope for them moving on and continuing to go in his GOAT status.
Absolutely.
But that being said, a lot more. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. There was other things that happened during the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness, don't get me started.
Let's talk about it. First of all, we had some beautiful people singing the national anthem, and the black national anthem. Ledesi did her thing and sang that song, and I just think the representation was quite amazing of just how they approached the Super Bowl, the participation. 47 did show up to the Super Bowl, was politely booed for when he made his entrance. But that being said, let's talk about the talk of the town, which is
the halftime.
K-Dot.
Well, there's so much there.
Kendrick Lamar. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl halftime. Now, it was not everybody's favorite.
Well, let's be real. Like, okay, so let's do the whole thing, right? When it comes to the level of excitement, right, that was not there. But when it comes to the brilliance and the message and the courage and the boldness that it took to go out there and give that type of message and to wrap it all around your music, which is what you're all about anyway.
Which is what he is celebrated for. He's a lyricist.
He did not go away from what he always does, right?
Yeah.
What his music really represents. So he was really true to himself, but then he gave a much greater message in all of that with that stage, right?
Stage, and I appreciate what he did for that.
Absolutely.
A lot of people I was listening to the Breakfast Club, and they was talking about, could he have done a lineup of songs that were more popular, that people would have recognized a little bit more? Absolutely. Any good artist can, and they get the choice to pick what songs they want to bring out. That being said, even when Rihanna, I wanted to hear a couple of songs talk about, Rihanna or Usher. There was other songs that we'd all love to have heard, Beyonce, but do they do every song you want to hear? No. So that's the artist, that's their preference. But the imagery, that red, white, and blue, I'm telling you, when I saw them colors, I said, you better go K-Dot. He was out there with those colors, challenging the system. So what? They told me not to do this. I love that back and forth that he went, kind of teased you in the beginning and then finally went for it. Just letting you know, no, you're not going to silence me nor anyone else. We have something to celebrate. He talked about reparations even, what I'm saying? Really, he went there.
Yeah, he definitely did. Even to have Samuel Jackson as Uncle Sam, right? And for him to go out and challenge what it means to be Black, right? While Kendrick then challenged how we need to go around the system and learn how to play the game, right? Like, I mean, this was it was a
It was
phenomenal.
the things he said, how he
Yeah.
did it, the
Yeah.
songs, the movements, again, using art
Hmm.
for the purposes of making a statement and
Yeah.
doing it for Black History Month,
Yeah.
letting everybody know, like it, don't like it, I'm here and I'm doing me.
I'm
I
doing
loved it. I
it.
loved his he gave his digs that Drake could care less. That's what the whole thing started from. Hey, keep it going. The
Hmm.
A on his chest,
Hmm.
big as bright, bringing SZA and
Yeah.
Serena out
And
there.
Serena Williams.
Both
Yeah.
of Drake's exes,
Yeah. But I
kind of.
think that was just a, well, let me give you a little dig, right? But the message was so much greater than that. I think a
But
lot of
even
people
how
try
they,
to make it
that was
about,
kind of like one of the
that
messages
was
in
a
bringing them
bonus.
out.
That was a bonus.
That was
But
a bonus. But even SZA, he's done stuff with SZA. He's
then,
done, Serena. Her crit walk was everything. Everybody
mhm,
remembers that from, the Wimbledon. So her coming out doing that,
mhm,
again, another person that loves to, create good trouble. Serena
yeah,
stands up for stuff,
yeah,
and with all of the images she wanted to bring forth in this, she was out there with her Chucks.
yeah,
I mean, her red, white, and blue. Everybody was like, "I'm here. We about this message, and,
yeah,
we all good for it."
absolutely,
Loved it. Loved it.
absolutely,
Loved it 100%. And in the midst of that, in the midst of all that happening, still we see the kickback from this, Black History Month, and even going more into it. So main kudos to everybody that performed. Kendrick Lamar was phenomenal. I have no complaints about what he did. And I think, those are the kind of things that we need to really start moving to do. I'm learning to be more bold, and if I have a point to be made, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be more
absolutely.
bold
And
because
how applicable in this time period, right? With all the things that are being changed through this administration, and we're going to get into some of those topics. I want people to remember that, also before we start the main topic, right? That people have been challenging Kendrick Lamar about having all black, representation up there with him at the Super Bowl. So I want people to just remember that, just because we're going to be getting into, the DEI boycott too, and what he was representing as he decided to
no
show.
apologies. I have no apologies because you know what?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
How many things do we see that is all white
Hmm.
all the time? I always, when people bring those kind of things up, I am just always ready to say stop. Because when because when it's all white, it's okay. When it's all black, it's not. Stop it. Stop it. You choose to do what you want to do. DEI, y'all swear. Everybody that believes in getting rid of DEI, they swear that that's what it's about.
Well,
Getting rid
listen,
of all the colors and keeping.
listen. You asked for it. You asked for it. So this is what he did, right?
Right.
He rolled it back too, if that's what you want to say. He
That's
rolled
what
it
you
back
want to
as
do.
well.
Right. That's what you want
Exactly.
to do.
So we're
But
going to get into our question for the night.
yes, yes, I'm
We
so
have a question for you tonight. And as always, we want you to make sure that you ask Fem Talk. So if you have burning questions that you want to ask us, go to femtalktv@gmail.com, send us an email, and we will address your questions right here on the show. So
yes.
tonight's question is, how do I build confidence when I feel like I'm constantly doubting my abilities at work?
Mm,
Great question. Great question.
excellent question.
Absolutely.
Excellent question. I was actually talking to um, one of my mentees today about this,
Hmm.
literally talking just about the confidence level.
Hmm.
And, it was, and I'm not, I don't want to generalize things too much, but there is a difference
Hmm.
between men in the workplace and women in the workplace.
Hmm.
And I have seen more men stand up and confidently and take their role regardless of what they know or don't know. I've seen it over and over again. Do some of them lack confidence? Sure. but they're more willing to move forward at work, even if they're doubting their abilities. Whereas I've seen women more so almost stifle themselves because they're not confident enough in their abilities. Where so they'll hold themselves back. They actually won't even go for a position that they may question, do I have all the skills to do the position? Mm-hmm. Whereas I've seen male counterparts go forth, yeah, I don't have all the stuff, but I'm doing it. And one of the things I would say is we have to stop, whoever is doubting their confidence. I don't want to say it's a man or woman, but I know I work with a lot of women, and women do, tend to have this problem more so than men. Either way, man or woman, I think what you have to understand is that you come to no job with 100% knowing anything. You don't. There's no job out there that you come into with 100% knowledge of it. Mm-hmm. You just don't. Part of the job and part of your role is to learn it, is to understand it, and is to, I believe in the model that you learn it on your own self doing it. You learn it with your colleagues helping you, and then you also create an outer ring of other people that are doing it also. So you create this kind of 3-prong approach to your jobs where you build a community so that you can gain knowledge and always have and always grow into and through your role, whatever role that is. Mm-hmm. And when we think, and I think what part of it is that we think that we have to have it all inside of here. Mm-hmm. And that's not what a position is about, is for me to contemplate everything.
And it's not realistic. It's not realistic to say I'm going to know everything about this job, right? At all. You have to be willing and open to learning as you go, right? And growing as you are in your position, right? And building that confidence just takes knowing how to speak up, right? Or putting yourself in a position where you can speak up, going to look for the answers, right? Whether it's you have to do what you said, right? That 3-prong approach where you're engaging people in your community, or, there's so much at our exposure now, going somewhere online, wherever that is, books, in order for you to learn the things that you don't know. But you have to decide that I'm going to want more here. So I'm going to exercise my confidence, even when I'm not feeling so confident. I'm going to exercise it in order for me to get the tools that I need so that I can get to that place where now I have that belief in my abilities.
Right.
And that continues, right? That never stops.
Never
There's
stops.
always something to learn
never stops.
Yeah.
It's, I'm now in a position where I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of mentoring and consulting. So I'm coming with the answers, right? Does that mean I have all the answers? Absolutely not. I got a phone call. I get phone calls daily from different people. It could be, CEOs or, or CFOs, but regardless, I get the phone call. Mm-hmm. I don't have all the answers, but I always say, let's figure it out. Mm-hmm. If it's a phone call to somebody, if it's me looking something up, if it's me verifying something. The other day I was on a Zoom call. Information was needed. I muted myself and I said, "Hey, Lamont, can you look this up real quick?" Yeah. He went online, looked it up. This is the answer. Okay, hey, I got the answer for you. That's what it takes. It takes that kind of creative thought process, not being full of yourself. Because I think the confidence is also: are you embarrassed to ask the question or to say I don't know? Mm-hmm. Get out of yourself and humble yourself a little bit to say, I don't know the answer, but let me find it. Let me figure it out. Let's work together at this solution. Yeah. So I think you got to kind of, confidence is something that you build in knowing that you can figure it out. Yeah. That's what you want to build. I think you don't walk into anything thinking you're going to have all the answers. You'll never have all the answers. So let's put that away. That's like perfection. Mm-hmm. We can't achieve perfection.
Right. Ever.
Let's put that, right?
Right.
Let's put that aside and let's work for being good.
Yeah.
Or even being great.
And I'll even challenge that you'll be more respected if you can say, I don't know the answer, but I will find it. I will find out. Right. Or I will figure it out. Right. And I think you'll get a lot more respect from your peers, from, your managers, at your workplace, right? So just go out there and be bold, exercise some boldness and some confidence, even when you're not feeling it completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I think we should take a quick commercial break and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about our main discussion this evening.
Yeah.
All right. And we are back. Let's bring in Dr. Simmons. Yes, yes. Hello, Dr. Melissa. All right. So we are talking about protecting our history in Black History Month. We're going to talk about this DEI boycott that's going on. That's going to be happening on February 28th. February 28th is no spending day, no economic spending on February 28th. Please, everyone, join in this effort and do not spend on February 28th. You can go.
Is it no? You could go to anybody who's supporting DEI. You can't go to the non-supporters, correct?
No, no. From my understanding, it is a no spending day, period, because they want the effects to be felt economically across the country to not spend any money on that day. That means online also. Do not order and have it delivered to your house on that day. Don't order anything.
And this is, and Tracy, people need to understand DEI is not Black.
No.
DEI is whoever the elitists think you're not a part of. They, this is about Black, Hispanic, um, 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 Asian. This is about transgender. This is about gay and lesbian. This is about anything that the right wing does not believe belongs in their circle of allowables.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was the press secretary. I could be wrong, so don't quote me. And I pretty much said, we want white men to run this country, period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So if you don't fall into the white men category, you are DEI. Period. That is what they're looking to take away. Yeah. Just put the white man in charge and everybody else fall into line. No, we didn't come to this country for this. We didn't come to this country for this. And let's think, and this is bigger than this country. Mm-hmm. Lamont and I, we just went away for a winter break, and so we went out of the country, and we met a number of people from Canada. Mm-hmm. Literally had a conversation with a woman. She says, excuse me, we do not want to become the 51st state. Sorry. Like literally started the conversation like that. I had to laugh. I said, we don't want y'all to be the 51st. I said, that's not me. That's them. Had to separate myself. But the global impact, what people from other countries was talking about, mm-hmm. I found quite interesting. I think everyone is looking at what is happening, and they are besides themselves. Like, this is ridiculous. Who does mm-hmm. this? Mm-hmm. The Canadians are annoyed and pissed off. The Mexicans are annoyed and pissed. Everybody that has been targeted has been annoyed and like, who does this man think he is? Mm. The concept to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America because I said so is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
He said he was going back and he was going to take back Panama.
Yeah.
What is wrong? I mean, when I tell you how many people outside of this country is like, is this man a nut or what?
Yeah.
Who says all of this stuff just because you can say it? No, yeah. You just don't say everything. This is ridiculous. I'm going to take your country back. I'm going to take your country back. I'm going to make y'all this. Based on what?
And it's in it in executive order. But I mean, like, what is that? What is that supposed to mean? The Gulf of America now, the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America based on America's executive order.
No, because of his. Let's get it clear. Let's get it clear.
Well, he is
Because
number
the one,
47, so that's why I said it that
it's
way
not America's executive order.
because he put in an executive order, right?
Right. It's not
So
America's executive order. It's
I understand what you're
his
saying.
executive order.
Mhm.
His
Mhm.
his executive order.
Mhm.
And you know, it's not. He's not representing me. He is not representing millions of people out
Most
there.
of the
He's just
country,
not.
right? Right.
This is
And
his
I would
mindset.
challenge once again, right, that even those who voted for him are now, disturbed by
Oh, a
everything.
lot of people are backing,
Right.
are backpedaling.
So,
A lot of people that voted for him are backpedaling
right.
because they didn't understand at all how this would affect them.
But this is what he said he would do. I want people to really recognize you chose him, and this is what he said he would do.
Oh yeah, they didn't read between the lines. You know, sometimes when you sign those papers real quick and you don't read between the lines, and then somebody says, "Well, you know, you have to do this because it said it right here." I don't think they looked at that little plan that they signed at the dotted line. They didn't look at it. They didn't
Read the
look.
fine print. Read the fine print.
It wasn't even fine print. It was big bold print.
Hmm.
Let's get it clear. This wasn't fine print. This was big bold print. This was people screaming about it. This is what we're gonna do, and they started doing it. Now, let's also make it very clear. This is still a democracy, so there has been a lot of lawsuits that has come up against a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the executive order, don't have that kind of power.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it had to stop mid, not even a lot of it couldn't be executed on that. But again, I think this speaks of this whole DEI boycott is so important for all of us. All of us. Again, if you know, and if you don't fall into that one category that they're looking to put into power, then you're DEI. And you really be careful about what making those impacts. Let those that need to hear. You're not going to strip this country of everything you want.
Yeah.
This is not going to become your little playground, or your little power trip, or your little let's become everything that he is doing is more of what you do in what's the word dictatorship.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have free elections for to put a dictator into office.
And that's the point, right? That is the point. We
That is
need
a
to
big
make
point
it,
that people need to get in their head.
we need to make it felt economically, right? Because we need for everyone to understand that this is our country, this is the people's country, right? That's why there's a democracy in place, and we need to make this felt. So, this they're saying now February 28th, right? But online, there's going to be more. This is not going to be the last one. They're already challenging Amazon and saying that there's going to be a week blackout period for Amazon.
That's what I was saying.
Stay
There's a lot of
tuned.
other
Stay tuned for
blackouts
that one
they're
as
trying to
well.
plan.
Yeah, stay tuned for that one as well.
And
So, but we need this. We need it to happen this way. Again, I had mentioned on the last show that there was a mention of we can't just do protests and marches, right? Because it's not felt. It's not felt at all. It's heard, but it's not felt. So we need to make this have a real impact. And the way to do that, the way to start to take down the what who thinks they are the powers that be, is to do it from an economic standpoint. So this is why this is so important. So important.
And that's why immediately once he threw out all the tariffs on Mexico and Canada and China, they threw them back at us, and then all of a sudden they're on hold. Of course they're on hold because they say, okay, you want to tax us? Now we taxing you 25%. We don't have enough homegrown anything to be taxing anybody on what comes into this country and what we send to them as opposed to what they sent to us. So again, I do believe in the economic power that we have, and we do have to push it. I do want to mention a handful of companies that are still implementing that DEI programs with Apple, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Costco, Microsoft, Salesforce, Pinterest, NASDAQ, Delta, Elf, um, Delta and Elf are just a few. Elf Beauty are just a few companies that are proudly and maintaining their DEI programs. Uh, um, Again, understanding that DEI it gives me and you that ability to just even do fem talk. That's an open door. These are doors that have been open for us.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there's a woman, um, you know, press, um,
Oh, and
gosh,
she,
word is what I'm
you
not
just,
allowed to
you just
be the
sound a
press
little bit there.
secretary in the White House is a DEI opportunity.
Mm.
Women never did that. The fact that you had one come, that a black woman for President Biden, and now even a white woman. That's how foolish she is, in a sense. She don't understand that because of DEI, that's what has you there.
Mm-hmm.
Never allowed,
Well,
but
you
because
just mentioned that she announced that they wanted it to be a white man's administration, yet she's the press secretary.
she's
She's
the
a
press
woman.
secretary,
And if you
foolishly.
look at history, right? If you look at the history of the country, white women have benefited more from DEI than most other cultures, gender, like, you know what I'm
Say it
saying? Like,
again.
they have
Say it
benefited a
again.
lot more than any others. If you look at the statistics, right?
Say it
White
again.
women have
White
benefited
women, you the
more.
ones that benefit more,
That's
have
right.
benefited overall from
That's right.
DEI opportunities. So
That's
stop it. Stop being ignorant. Stop being ignorant. I hate ignorance. So I think it's getting into these things. And again, I think the other piece of it is that we need to make sure our voice is heard,
right.
meaning do something. There
Mm-hmm.
is something to be done.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wanted to mention, the Black game changers. Talk about Black history. These are
Mm-hmm.
people that are out there changing the game. In Delaware, where I live, Lisa Blunt Rochester, she has made history in Delaware. She is the first Black woman, to be the U.S. Senator for Delaware. First Black woman ever. Um, Grassroots movement. She
Mm-hmm.
just ran for council person. You know what I'm saying? Um, she was able to, through her very small start in politics, and through having a job for the state of Delaware, moved into different ranks, became more known, started running for office, and now she's a state senator. A lot of us that are a lot of people think about running for office, and they put it down, but a lot of people, one of the best places to start is running for school boards. School boards are one of the biggest places to start. You don't get
Yeah.
paid money when you run for school board, but you understand the process of making a difference. You
Mm-hmm.
understand the process of your voice being heard. Trust me, when you sit at those tables, you make a difference. Your
Yeah.
voice matters. So those are some of the places we can start going to. We can start participating in. A couple of months ago, they was changing the law, and a lot of times they have what they call forums when certain laws are being changed or being challenged. Go and participate. I put my name down on the list, and I went and spoke in front of the lawmakers.
Yeah.
Excuse me, these are the reasons why I feel you should consider these points. When you have opportunity to speak in front of lawmakers, go and speak to them. Let people hear what you have to say, because trust me on this one. Your voice matters. I have seen so many things turn around in the process of a board of education hearing what a parent or a community member has come to the mic to talk about. I have
Yeah.
seen so many changes of votes because of what somebody said at the podium.
Yeah. And
Your voice does
on that
matter.
local level, like the Board of Education is a good one. And also just city or town council, right? Your councilmen or women, those are the ones that you want to talk to. If you don't want to be a council person yourself, know who they are in your area,
Know who they
right?
are,
Know
know
who
who
you
to
need
talk
to
to.
contact, because those are the people that are going to get the changes made that you need in your locality or your county, right? So you want to make
Absolutely.
sure that you know those council people, because that's where the impact really starts, right? At that level.
And let's take it from this perspective. So 2 weeks ago, you saw
Mhm.
that they was taking away all federal funds, right? Nobody was getting federal funds.
All federal funds, and now you see federal jobs as well.
Federal jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few friends who were asked to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
They also are planning if they haven't already done it a lawsuit against even that um in terms of you just can't eliminate my job. Okay, you just can't eliminate my job and my participation in these different departments at the federal government. So I bring that up because I don't think people understood the impact of what federal funds are and what
Mm-hmm.
they do. And when you talk about federal funds, you're talking about the fabric of most of what happens in this country. Federal funds is food, the basic food.
Mm-hmm.
Federal funds back in the day was the milk and cheese programs that I remember. This is what made when my mom went to the store and we didn't have enough, and then we would get the extra cheese and milk. That is food. It's basic food. Federal funds is medical care.
Mm-hmm.
Medical care. Medicaid, Medicare for a sick child, for an adult who has been permanently injured.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what age.
Mm-hmm.
Permanently injured, can't work anymore. Medical,
Yeah.
food, education,
Yeah.
the fabric of what we do every day, right? We eat, we take care of ourselves, and we educate ourselves. This is federal funds.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is trying to be stripped from us. Even if you get rid of all those jobs, how do you think your money is going to get to you? If even if you are eligible for it,
Mm-hmm.
how do you think the money's going to get to you? Somebody has to execute some, people never understand what it takes to, I work in the administration of worked in the administration of a school district. And people used to say, what do y'all do? They never could understand what we would do.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, if we didn't do what we do, you wouldn't have desks in the room. You
Right.
wouldn't have school desks in the room, books.
Right.
There would be no lights on. There'd be nothing. There'd be no
Mm-hmm.
food at lunch. There'd be no food at breakfast. You
Yeah.
wouldn't have nothing. That's what the administration does.
It's called operations, right? Like if that,
That's right.
if that doesn't happen,
That
things will,
doesn't happen when
I see you doing
everybody's
this, right?
fired.
The wheels will not keep turning. And
No.
at any place of business, right? And whether it be the federal government, whether it be education, the healthcare system, everything is operations, right? In order for things to actually run, in order for those wheels to continue to turn, right? In order for people to get what they need, in order for people to have a place to actually come to, right? It's all operations.
It's all operations,
Necessary,
but
yeah.
there's a domino effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just use because I'll use the education. So you have a public school district, right? That public school district deals with food vendors. They deal with architects. We deal with lawyers. We deal with machinists. People that do machine work for us. We deal with painters. We deal with garbage men. We deal with we think of some other people. We deal with the electric company. We deal with the gas company. We deal with all of these people. What happens when our money goes away?
Mm-hmm.
Where y'all getting your money from?
You can't pay any of those people.
Where you getting your money from?
Right.
You losing clients? Oh, is that what's happening now? Lawyers are losing clients?
Mm-hmm.
Architects?
Yep.
The
And then
energy company doesn't have all these bills?
I think too, it's good to mention, right, that here goes the ripple effect, right? Because just like you said, right, yeah, it's keeping the wheels turning,
People
right?
don't understand that this is going to affect
It's a
everyone.
ripple. It is a ripple because just like you said, the examples that you gave, when you are paying the lawyers and you're paying the architects, and the list goes on and
Doctors,
on, right?
doctors. We
The list
employ
goes
doctors,
on, right?
nurses. We
then
employ
they
the
don't get
gamut.
paid. They don't get paid, right? And then they can't even contribute into the economy either, right? So the less that they get when they start losing their contracts, right? Here it goes. It's the ripple effect. And then they can't get paid, then they can't pay back into the economy, right? And then they can't pay the vendors that they have on their end because they also have operations. And then their vendors don't get paid, and then their vendors can't contribute to the economy.
CPA
And
firms,
the ripple
exactly,
effect goes
CPA
on and
firms.
on.
You mentioned it. We have, we have financial advisors. We have the gamut of things. Let me also give you another fun fact. The public school district is usually the largest employer in most cities. The public school district is usually the largest employer in most cities and towns. So what happens when the largest employer in your city or town all of a sudden doesn't have the money to process things? So guess who gets laid off? Teachers, classroom aides, nurses, doctors.
Yeah. And I would say too, these things do need to change, right? We do know that these systems need to change.
Absolutely.
But just by, you can't just cut off the head of something and expect that the changes are just going to magically appear, right? I'm interested to see like what's the plan here? Because you're cutting all these funds and you're cutting all these jobs. What is the plan here? It can't just be we're trying to save money, right? Because by you're trying to save money, and I'm putting my quotes up, you're actually hurting. You're actually losing more money than you're actually saving. So
one of the things
what this is going to come
but you
to.
can tell there's no plan. If this was what's happening, there's no plan.
Yeah.
One of the things that is actually Nick's fault, so I'm gonna blame one on that. I'm gonna shout him out for this one. But he started rewatching The West Wing.
Mm-hmm.
That is something everybody should do in this season. Go back and watch The West Wing. Because The West Wing, which was now this is a show 20 years ago, at least. I think it's 25 years ago. When I tell you almost everything they were dealing with in that show, we are experiencing now. And one of the things that they talked about was education. And they talked about the system that, what the challenges of now education, what you need to do. And everything that they're bringing up in the show is literally everything that we're dealing with currently. Is the system working the best? Absolutely not. I could, as somebody in the field working, it is not a good system right now. It is not something that is just working well, and the children are reading and writing the way they should. Absolutely not.
And it's not limited to education, right? It's the healthcare system, it's the education system,
exactly.
Like all of them all of them need changes.
Exactly. They need, even Obamacare. That has taken on some tweaks. Is it the best thing yet? No, but it has satisfied one point where a lot of people that didn't have insurance have it now. But what else needs to happen in that? So everything has to come to a point where you're always looking at it, evaluating it, and seeing what needs to improve in it. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a systematic approach to how do you make something better, not how do you cut it off and end it.
Yeah,
that's what we need to start doing.
Is
how to make it truly better. That I'm willing to hear, because I don't think that's a Democratic or Republican thing. I think that's a common sense thing. How do we make anything
that is a long time coming, no matter who's been in presidency, right? Like, let's just be real about that. That's right. That's a long time coming. The systems have been broken for a long time. That's not for one individual president. But to just cut things off, right, without really having a plan to make things run smoothly going forward and make sure that people still get what they need, that's going to hurt us more than if the wheels were just turning the way that they used to. Right?
And I think it's just things that we just need to, and again, this is where participation takes place. This is where your voice matters. This is where your boycotting of just wrong. Sometimes you just have to stand up and say, I'm not going to do it. You have to be, or I'm going to stand up and say what I need to say, like Kendrick did. sometimes it takes somebody to boldly say it. Okay, I'm gonna take the hit for it, but I don't care
Yeah.
because it's
And
time to take.
listen, what it did, right? If you're following what's happening on social media, and this is people of all walks of life, what Kendrick Lamar has done is start the conversation.
The
And because
conversation is
we have
happening.
social media, and because this now can go worldwide, it can go global, right? But people are having the conversation, and it is people of all walks of life, people that really got it and it resonated with them. They are speaking up, they're speaking about it, they're even going on and breaking down what they've seen, right? So this is the type of thing that we need to happen. We need the conversations to be had, because the only way to gain a level of understanding and actually make changes is to start to have the conversation,
Have the
right?
conversation.
So he
Yeah.
has definitely woken, right? If I'm saying that correctly, he's woken up some people, and we need this to continue. So we want to just let's give him his kudos again on that.
Job well done.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I just want to. Last week, I talked about the transgender community. Laverne Cox, she was on The View, and they asked her, "What do you think is about going on?" And one of what she said, I thought was so profound. She said, "If we're the 1% that you're targeting, you are absolutely targeting the wrong 1%.
Mm.
We did not cause these problems in this country. We are not the 1% that's going to make. Well, if you change anything with us 1%, it ain't going to change too much of nothing.
Yeah.
So the target on this 1%, she said, you'll need to refocus what 1% you'll need to look at.
Yeah.
And just that statement alone, again, talking about, the rich walking away, being able to buy a presidency. Let's talk about that. Maybe that 1% we need to be focused on. That $250 million that was poured into this presidential election from one person.
Yeah.
That
And
now
well,
sits,
it wasn't
that
from
now
one
sits in
person.
charge.
It wasn't from one person. It was a person who rallied others with the money to be able to support this presidency. They
Well,
formed a
the one
whole
person they
organization
gave,
around it.
well, there's a lot of one person, but one person I'm talking about
I know
is
who you're
what
talking
he
about.
gave. That, but he gave that. There was a lot more given, but
No,
he gave
no,
that.
no. He formed an organization of about 6 or 7 people. That's where that came from. But the influence that he has,
He bought his seat at the table. Let's
we
get
need
that
to be
clear.
concerned. We
He
need to be
bought
really
his seat
concerned.
at the table.
Yeah, we
And
need to
now
be
he's
really
sitting at a
concerned
table
about
that
the
nobody
influence that he
nobody
has.
elected him to sit at.
Right.
That's what we got to understand too. He bought his seat at the table, and now he's sitting in a seat that nobody elected him to sit at.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what needs to really be looked at. That's the 1% that we need to focus on,
Yes.
not this
Absolutely.
1%. And that
Absolutely.
was her point. Don't worry
Absolutely.
about my 1%. You better
Absolutely.
be worried about that 1%, because they're the
Absolutely.
ones that wanna take this country back to yes sir, no sir.
Yeah. Absolutely. So listen, I'm going to say this once again, right? We need to be very concerned about that in particular. And I think that people are starting to wake up to some of the things that have been happening. And we could go, we don't even have time, right? But we could go on and on about some of the things that have been taking place
Yeah.
as a result of, being able to buy your participation in the country, and how the country is being run. But we love you all out there. Continue to pay attention. Make sure that you are boycotting on February 28th. We will continue to announce the boycotts as they happen. But if you want to make an impact, this is the first way to do that. So February 28th, no spending, none, zip, zero, nowhere, not online, not in person. Make sure that you join the boycott. We'll see you next week right here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care.